This is an audio recording of a blog I had written on my website, vistaworld Media Design Lab. If you would like to read, I've provided a link in the description. Digital Dissent, the new industrial revolution, facilitating and subverting the integration of synaptic interface and blockchain technology to produce monetized data. Published March 5th, 2024, written by Nicholas Carroll. Quote, "The new ideas and technology have accelerated our culture into an almost unrecognizable reality," end quote, wrote Douglas Rushkoff in his seminal debut book, Cyberia, published in 1994. Quote, "Inspired by the computer, chaos, math, chemicals, and creativity, this renaissance has been interpreted by many as an evolutionary leap for humanity into another dimension," end quote. Those words, written over 3 decades ago, still resonate within today's increasingly technological and globalized social biome. As digitalization has become standard across global regions, with more pixels covering surface inch than ever, internet connectivity more available than bread, and especially considering recent innovations in blockchain technology and artificial intelligence, the world has never been so interconnected, and perhaps the connection to humanity's essence itself has never been closer. In July 2017, quote, "The German presidency noted that the spread of digital technology in regard to blockchains in business and society requires discussion on an internationally agreed regulatory framework," end quote. Blockchains utilize a peer-to-peer network to share digital ledgers that are verified by cryptographic algorithm. They are used to transmit digitally represented assets. Thus, the use of blockchains are not just efficient, but also provide a layer of anonymity, being lucrative for not just the black market entrepreneurs, but for anyone in the working masses. Even in 2017, national banks like Bank of Japan were investigating decentralized blockchain technology. With the advent of large language model artificial intelligence like GPT by OpenAI, the blockchain technology has even seen more real-world applications. Such applications may be even more revolutionary than the development of the personal computer, with the interplay of AI, advanced cryptographic learning techniques, machine learning, and the attention being paid to neuromorphic system architecture. Such developments have led to reinvigorated interest in virtual reality, but mainly from large companies, leading to overzealous corporate HoloLands like the metaverse. The renewed interest brings a saturine futurism that echoed through the digital chambers of Apple clamshell PCs and IRC chat rooms. Continued developments have also arisen with technology implemented into or supplanted by the synaptic interface in the medical and entrepreneurial fields. Apparently, in 2020, culture has been defined by the absurdity of reality and world events, compacted by reality distortion shifts now made possible by our interconnected digital mass machine. The culture factory has never been so saturated or apparent. But recent technological developments have always promised to bring peace and stability to a chaotic world. For a time, the end of history ushered in the 90s brought some digital nirvana for some. A webmass where virtual ghosts could roam free, unabated by the perception of surveillance and control. The image generation craves this era of supposed internet symbiosis. Admittedly, it was a time before the rise of omniscient tech and algorithm deranking. But considering the sophisticated computational, sociological, and technological complexities of this new era, it may be that a new industrial revolution is in the midst. Governmental agencies at circular boardrooms like the G20 have discussed identity management and digital security while acknowledging the increasing skepticism of cross-border trade. Just as the new industrial revolution has allowed the liberation of the individual by command of the virtual constructors that build the physical world around us, these same tools have been demonstrably used by multinational governments and private entities to manipulate masses through obvious subliminal visual algorithms or blatant violence. Thus, this new digital paradigm we have been thrust into must be wrought by the common masses, rather than have its control and influence be surmounted by a corporate monolith. It's too late, though. Although such a movement would not exist until the GPT Rubicon has already been reached, and thus a graffiti-clad subculture would rise in its wake. Quote, "Design and reality must be interactive rather than passive. The user must be part of the iterative equation," end quote. Maybe it's time, instead of being the user, we should be the collective administrator. Just as the me generation sees itself as a ruler over its digital dominion, quote, "Cyberians need to see themselves as a source of their own experience," end quote. Blockchains bring extended possibilities in bringing Cyberians closer into realizing their full virtual selves. AI, robotics, additive manufacturing, new materials, augmented reality, nanotechnology, and biotechnology have facilitated the birth of the Internet of Value and is due to be subverted by the interconnected, rebellious digital youth. The Internet of Value, a culminated and manifested element of the new industrial revolution, has allowed Cyberians to develop new sources of income. Governments have reacted accordingly, introducing, quote, government as a service, and, quote, having to increase sovereign debt or refocus existing resources such as pension funds towards domestic technology investments, end quote. Besides blockchain technology, analog and memory computing has come of age. In 2023, IBM introduced the IBM HERMES chip. Its processing production capable of 63.1 tera operations per second, enabled by compact current-controlled oscillator analog-to-digital converters, otherwise known as ADCs. While the seamless integration of analog and digital computing has been allowing for some truly stunning developments in AI, it must be noted that the continued progress on this field will only be possible with investments in, quote, fast, low-power, and accurate inference hardware, end quote. Such hardware may be suited for neuromorphic cell architecture, allowing for low-power, high signal-to-noise ratio operations, despite most AIs today built and sustained on traditional von Neumann CPU architecture, otherwise known as deep neural networks, otherwise known as DNNs. The compatibility between analog AI and neuromorphic cell architecture should be explored, as it presents a, quote, viable alternative to digital accelerator approaches, end quote. With the advent of analog computing, which operates with continuously variable signals rather than discrete values, analog neural networks, ANNs, have been developed to be efficient at tasks requiring real-time processing or tasks requiring high sensitivity to analog data. ANNs, due to their neuromorphic nature, can more receptively retain associative memory systems, pattern recognition, and content addressable memory. This seamless ecosystem of analog to digital, digital to analog, with conjunction to blockchain's effortlessly capability to cryptographically store data, creates an intriguing complementary element, that is synaptic interface, or the human brain. But the potential triaged integration of the synaptic interface, large language model-powered analog neural networks, and blockchain technology may allow for the true innovation of the new industrial revolution, cognitive labor. Individuals could have ownership and control of their own neural data through tokenization via blockchain. This symbiotic, decentralized neural network can be further trained by self-organizing maps, reinforcement learning, adaptive algorithms, evolutionary algorithms to progress life, and of course neural architecture. Integration of a synaptic interface with blockchain technology could also enable direct communication and interaction between the human brain and artificial intelligence systems like GPT. Cognitive labor and its metadata will securely be shared with AI systems, creating new economic opportunities free from human corporate hegemony. Image content creation systems are already abundant in the virtual sphere. Once they are wired with the synaptic interface in the economic Cyberian blockchain landscape, media will flow freely between real, liminal, and virtual environment. Such freedom of data, image, pixel, and information and its implications on our society was visually realized by Hito Stereo in her 2013 video artwork, How Not to Be Seen, a fucking didactic educational .mov file. As the equation of personal and pixel are explored through the camera calibration fields in the Mojave Desert, amidst a backdrop of recently released Snowden files, it made us realize that the creators of our digital selves were not made in triumphant liberation, but filed by data entry algorithms. The rise of cognitive labor in modern times will inevitably lead to an economic disruption and radical redistribution of wealth. Those who cannot produce cognitive labor will starve in the digital famine. The production of cognitive labor will blur human and machine because of the conglomeration of synaptic interface, blockchain file management, and analog language processing machine. Where does the real mind start and end? Is the whole digital and organic integration one cell for multiple cells conglomerated into one image? If one part is not conscious but synaptically wired, how does it influence the conscious whole? Because we cannot entertain or ascertain is AI conscious conversations that are functionally pointless, and philosophically anything is plausible dichotomy, it may be better to recognize that the line between the organic image, you and I, and the digital image, analog/analog image, digital and analog manifestations of ourselves imbued and smeared onto our impressions of our organic mind in the large language models, resolve to become the master image, the omniscient, chaotic, non-discrete, digital, physical, mortal, immortal versions of ourselves that bleeds through all time and energy. I thank you for reading. The bibliography for all sources are in the description. As I said before, the link to the text article is also in the description.